Hello everyone. I hope that you're having a very happy new year. I just wanted to come on here and say, do you hear anything different? Well, if you do or if you don't, this is the first video that I'll be recording with my new microphone. So please forgive me if it doesn't sound as good. I'm still working out the kinks. Two channels that you should be checking out in the new year are Soothe Siren and The Gothic Librarian. They are both incredible female narrators. The links to their channel will be down below. And party hard, party safe, and please don't drink and drive this New Year's. Have a very happy New Year, have fun, and now, let's get creepy. So, I had a very strange thing occur late in the evening, or early in the morning if you prefer, on New Year's Eve. I had been out at a party drinking and smoking a bit, as is customary. At around 2:30, a few friends, I'll use nicknames for them, Mads, Thaw, and Max, and I left the party we were at and headed back to our town. We had kept the roach of a blunt from the party, and we decided to pull into the resident parking lot outside the condo complex I lived in to finish it off. Not 2 minutes after we spark it, a man comes stumbling up the road that runs through the parking area. This road, for reference sake, runs through the parking area and down a hill to a few houses. I know pretty much all the people who live down that small hill. The man didn't really perturb me or my friends, so we kept smoking. Then, a minute later, a high school girl wearing no shoes or socks and just a short, skimpy dress comes walking up the hill. At this point, I was starting to wonder what kind of weird party was going on at one of my neighbors' houses. The girl walked through the parking area without a word, and then turned onto the main street and headed up it. As we first assumed, we wouldn't bother worrying because, despite her lack of shoes, she was walking straight and seemed to be keeping to herself. That's when things got strange. After she had disappeared from sight up the street, she came bolting back down as fast as she could given her shoeless situation. When she reached my friends and I, she slowed down, but looked very spooked. Mads asked her what happened, and she stepped away from her at first. Then, with horror-stricken eyes, she pointed up to the main street. We all turned and looked, but there was nothing in our direct line of sight. Max and I decided we'd go up the street to investigate what was scaring this girl so much. We made sure Thaw, Mads, and the girl got in Thaw's car, as she was the designated driver of the evening, and locked it. Max and I went up the main street, and for 5 minutes we saw nothing. Then we passed under one of the streetlights on the upper portion of the street. This streetlight has a stubborn and nerve-wracking tendency to turn off at night once you pass under it. To my dismay, it turned off, leaving us in total darkness, save for the faint glow of a light at the end of someone's driveway. This light was very low to the ground. That's when we saw it. Something that looked like a naked person but wasn't quite human waddled down the street towards us. It moved as though it were half squatting, and because of this, its hands dragged along the ground as they hung limp at its sides. I couldn't make out its face, and Max told me later that he couldn't either. It was also making a throaty, gurgling noise, as if it was almost choking on something. All we could do in the moment was turn and run as fast as we could back down the street. I ran right into my house, and Max ran into Thaw's car. I could hear the car screeching out of the parking area. I locked the door and didn't even bother to look outside to see if the thing was still coming down the street. I walked in the party at 11:00 p.m. "Why do you have trash bags covering the windows on the garage door?" I asked our New Year's Eve party host Steven as I poured a glass of jungle juice. I took a sip, and it tasted like cheap alcohol mixed with dollar store juice cocktail, which is the norm for broke college kids. Steven laughed and shut off the main lights in the garage, which caused the room to go entirely black. The entire party got quiet before he turned on the Christmas lights he had hung earlier, which gave the garage a low glow, just barely enough to see, but to make it feel like you weren't in a garage. I was just thankful I finally got invited to a party, especially after what happened at the last one. Some people found it hard to trust me that I wouldn't ruin it again. Half of the people at this party barely wanted to talk to me, so I walked up to my best friend Gabby and stood beside her as she talked to her boyfriend. She sort of acknowledged me but continued her conversation. I didn't want to talk to her anyway. I would occasionally glance down at my phone just to look back up to find someone I didn't know staring at me like I was crazy. I took another sip of the jungle juice and pursed my lips at the taste. I knew I needed some liquid courage. It was nearing 11:30. I was on my third glass of juice and barely anyone spoke to me. They knew I wasn't crazy, right? It was 11:32 when I went to grab a beer because I knew the sugar in the juice would make me sick the next day. I finally mustered the courage to talk to a group of people that consisted of 2 extremely tall guys and a couple of girls in cute New Year's Eve dresses. I complimented them on how cute they looked and started the usual small talk, like if they had any other plans tonight, where they are from, but someone must have told them about the last party because they sort of laughed off anything I said. Those judgmental jerks. I didn't want to talk to them anyway. I glanced at my phone once again. 11:45. We were getting close to the ball dropping. I walked back over to Gabby, who was still making eyes at her boyfriend. I realized Gabby hadn't talked to me for most of the night. I told her about the time and how we should probably get the champagne I brought ready, but she blew me off and told me to do it myself. At this point, that was totally fine with me. It gave me something to do to forget I was being ignored. No one wanted to talk to me. No one wanted anything to do with me. That was all true until I started passing out glasses of champagne with my shaky hands and sweaty palms. Funny thing is, everyone wants to be your friend when you're handing out alcohol. It was 11:59, the countdown to New Year. Everyone was saying stuff like, "New Year, new me." I smiled. We all put our glasses up and drank when the ball dropped. I put my glass to my lips, not allowing any champagne to enter my mouth, but it still made my lips tingly. I glanced at my phone a few minutes later. It was 12:05. I was the only one still alive in the dark, windowless garage. I stepped over the bodies that laid on the floor. That's what they get for thinking I was crazy.